Peninsula Wineries in Niagara region, and we have with us
I'm Emily.
And Emily is one of the managers who's handling this store. And Emily is going to talk to us about the different kind of wines they serve. And how old are you in this business, Emily?
So this winery in itself has been around for 20 years.
Okay.
So we opened in August of 2000.
Okay.
But this property is original to 1885.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
it is a heritage property, right?
Yes, it is a heritage property. It was granted to a loyalist from New Jersey to come here and settle at that time. So this barn that we're in right now is the original structure, as well as...
Can you show
Yeah, so if we walk over this way a little bit, from here you can also see the red brick house.
Red brick house?
Yeah, so you might as well get some video of that before you leave as well.
Okay.
So the red brick house also dates back to 1885, which that currently has a restaurant in it.
Okay.
So the outside is 100% original. The inside has been redone, obviously just due to its time.
Okay.
And then in here as well, so the four-post beam structure, the ceiling, and the wrought iron ties up above are all original to 1885.
My God,
So the walls, the flooring, and the cement is all something that we, incorporated when we redid the structure itself.
Okay.
The property itself is about 80 acres in total.
80 acres?
80
Oh my
acres.
God, that's a lot of area.
Yes, yeah, but 42 are planted with vines.
Okay.
So on this property itself, we have Chardonnay, Syrah, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Riesling.
Okay.
But
so these are different varieties of grapes, right?
correct, yeah.
Okay.
So in North America, we speak in the form of the grape itself, where other regions in the world name their wine after the region.
Okay.
So like in France, you get Bordeaux, Champagne, stuff like that.
Fair.
But here we speak in the actual grape term.
Okay.
We also have a second property that we own. So we have two owners to this business. So just past the tree line, just kind of a road over, we have another 60 acres over there. So 60, which we have Melback, Pinot Noir, Pinot Grigio, and a little bit of Sauv Blanc.
Okay. Now, what is the main season? Like, what is the harvesting season for the grapes?
So typically things start around February.
Okay.
So usually they will go and prune everything. So that means they're going to take off all of the dead weight off of the vines, retie the actual vines to the trellises to ensure that they're ready to go in spring besides the pop. And then things will start growing from there. We are very, very close to harvest at this point. So at this time, if anyone is harvesting, they'd be harvesting for sparklings. Grapes are usually picked a little bit earlier. But for us, I would say we're probably not looking to do anything until the beginning of September. And then that will go until about mid-November, depending on the varietals itself. So usually sparkling grapes will be picked first, then they will go to the white grapes, then the red grapes. The red grapes take a little bit longer to mature because they go through a transition around this time of year where they go from a green grape to a red grape. So veraison is what the term is called. It's when things start to change. So if you do go out into the vineyard, there is a possibility that you can still see that there's green and red happening in the bunches itself.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So they take a little bit longer to mature. Where usually beginning to mid-September, green grapes are usually ready to go, like Riesling and Chardonnay. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So basically, once you start your plantation in month of February, so is it very labor intensive? From where do you get your labor?
It can be labor intensive. So our vineyards are technically contracted out. So there is a third-party company that actually comes here throughout the growing season and maintains the vineyard.
Oh, that is good.
So they will trim the foliage, so all the leaves up top, they will trim all of that to ensure that the grapes are getting full sun. So nothing is hanging over them and shading them. They will also pull away dead leaves and rotten fruit, and they'll just toss it onto the ground, and then we will come by and collect it all and clear it out.
So you have a third-party company who does basically the farming part of the business.
Correct, yeah. We just don't have enough staff to kind of maintain that.
The second thing is that once you get the fruits, great fruits from the plants, now what is the step forward from there?
So it's a little bit complicated because So the green grapes and the red grapes go through two different processes.
Okay.
So with the green grapes, you don't need skin contact for the wine, for the juice to be, you know, changed in any form. So typically when the green grapes come in, we will press them,
Okay.
press the juices right away, and transfer that all into tanks, stainless steel tanks, in which they will then start the fermentation process from there.
Okay.
Most of our white wines will stay in stainless steel tanks, except for a couple of our white wines that will go then down into the barrel cellar to age down there for a period of time.
Okay.
So adding body and flavor through the oak barrels.
Okay.
As for the red grapes, it's a little bit of a longer process in the sense that the skins and the juices actually have to sit together for a period of time.
Okay.
And the reason why that is because the color of the skin actually is what makes red wine red.
Okay.
So the grapes have a white juice in them. It's not a red juice by any means.
Okay.
So those skins can sit anywhere from, you know, very few hours to make a rosé, all the way up to 30 days plus
Wow.
for a full-bodied red. So it just kind of depends on the winemaker themselves and what they're looking for the juice.
Okay.
From there, they will then start the fermentation process during the time where the skins and juices are sitting together. They will create the wine itself.
Okay.
Then they will press the skins away from the juice.
Okay.
Where then the juices will be sitting in the tank to mature for a period of time, and then will be transferred down into the cellar to age in oak.
Okay.
So all reds within Ontario, I would say, about 95% of
Any
reds.
idea how many wineries are there in Niagara region?
So we're bordering 100.
Wow, that's lots,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. So and it's a long process, right? Things take a long time. It's not quick. You know, things age in our cellar anywhere from months to years.
Okay.
So, you know, you're sitting on it.
What is the kind of wine which is most popular in your area right now?
So there are certain grapes that grow really well in this region because we're a cool climate. So grapes are like any other plant. They are very sensitive to weather for sure. So I would say Riesling, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Cabernet Franc.
Can you show me the bottles?
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure. Yeah. So we have a Riesling over here. So our semi-dry Riesling is, I would say, is one of the most popular grapes you're going to find in this region.
How much is the bottle this for?
So Rieslings can vary prices from, this is $13, which it can range all the way up to $40.
Do you have a bottle
Riesling.
for $40?
Unfortunately not, because Riesling is not something we generally specialize in.
Do you have any other brand, any other variation of Riesling here?
Unfortunately not. We have a sparkling.
Okay, fair enough. Can we have a look?
Which is kind of not the most popular sparkling you'd find in the region. So this one here is $20 for the bottle.
That is cool.
So this is the one you had out on the patio.
Wow, that was a very, very good
Yes,
taste.
yeah.
Amazing taste, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so Riesling isn't something we specialize in here. It's actually Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay.
Which other? You have a
So
sample?
they're just over here. Sorry.
Sorry.
So we have 3 Sauvignon Blancs in total.
Okay.
All
Can you
different
pronounce it
ranges.
once more?
Yeah.
This is a French word, right?
Sauvignon Blanc, yes.
Sauvignon Blanc, okay.
Yep. So nice, dry,
And it's a
fruity.
white wine, right?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
So green grapes. We have different varieties within the Sauv Blanc. So we have 2 stainless steel Sauv Blancs, so no oaking whatsoever.
Okay, what do you mean by oaking?
So once the juice has been turned into a wine, a lot of times white wine will just stay in stainless steel because it's a neutral environment that will not add or take away from the wine itself.
Okay.
Whereas once you place something into an oak barrel, it completely changes the wine.
Okay.
It's going to add more body, more strength, and more flavor.
Okay.
Whereas this Sauv Blanc has been aged in oak, so full body, very dry.
This is aged in oak?
Yes.
Okay. And how much, like, how does the taste change?
So it goes from being something that's very acidic and fruity to something that's more mellow.
Okay.
So it kind of takes that acidity away.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that is very nice.
Yeah, and that's a very common practice.
And what are the condiments which you sell apart from the wine? What are the things which goes with it?
Everything that we sell condiment-wise is all local.
Wow, okay.
So Provisions is from Beamsville.
Okay.
Harvest Goodies is from Milton.
Wow.
This habanero, Niagara Habaneros, is a couple that lives in Beamsville, grows their own product. It's
Okay.
fabulous.
Okay.
These sauces here and spice rubs are done in Mississauga.
Wow.
And then the chutney that you enjoyed is through another company, which is in Guelph.
Okay. The chutney?
Yeah, the chutney here, yes.
Okay.
Is done in Guelph. Fantastic.
Okay. Emily, tell me one thing. How come white wine, ice wine is more expensive and more exclusive than the other ones?
Honestly, it takes a lot more to make ice wine.
Can we have it just a bottle?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. So ice wine is a very delicate process that takes place.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like. They come in skinny bottles. This is one of the smaller sizes. We also have a larger size that they come in. So the reason why it takes so much more and the bottles are smaller and it's more expensive is because for ice wine, once we're finished regular harvest for our table wines, we will leave the ice wine grapes on the vines until about January.
Okay.
So it's a natural freezing process
But
that
this
happens.
is, I bought it last year. It was so good.
Yes.
I took it for my family a couple of years ago to India. People freaked out. Like
Yes.
it was so good.
It is, Canada is the original, I wouldn't say original creators, but they're the ones who really latched on to making ice wine, and it's pretty much the only
Don't you
place.
feel, Emily, this ice wine as a product, and I guess Canada has, one of those rare expertise in
Yes.
ice wine. Don't you feel we should focus on exports to overseas, because this would have, it can fetch much better value than what we can get it here?
So it becomes a lot harder than you think when it comes to exporting.
Okay.
Very expensive, and it's very hard for a lot of us because we're very small.
Okay.
So we don't have the
So don't you
means
feel
to
that,
export.
and I know, because see, you as an individual winery would be difficult because you only have limited resources. But if you say Niagara has 100 wineries, then all over Ontario maybe a couple of hundreds, right?
Yeah.
So I would say there must be a body, a organization or trade chamber which basically handles all the exports. Don't you feel this, because I come from India, and this wine when I took to India, 2 years ago, people literally freaked out. It
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
It is something rare and there is no comparison, right? So I guess that is it. Now, do you also have a miniature for ice wines?
So you can get those at the LCBO.
Okay.
Through like one of our bigger.
Okay, now let me explain what is an LCBO. LCBO is a government-owned chain of liquor stores which basically sells wines, alcohol, scotch, any kind of alcoholic beverage, and the authorized, outlet in Ontario is known as LCBO. Do you know what the full form of LCBO?
So it's the Liquor Control Board of Ontario.
Liquor Control Board of Ontario,
Yeah,
right?
so
Okay.
they're the ones who control all of alcohol that is being imported, exported, and made in Canada.
Okay.
Strictly, mostly Ontario.
Do you have the factory where you make? Is that open? Right?
So it's not open right now. I can't bring anybody back there, unfortunately.
Because of quarantine reasons,
Just
right?
because of what's been going on.
Okay.
Just because we have staff that go back there, and
I know.
unfortunately,
You have to
it's-
protect them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But back to like exporting ice wine, we don't like this region. Yes, makes quite a bit of it, but not enough to then export it to a country that's going to want demand of it, unfortunately. Because it's the same thing with China. We have a lot of people that come over from China that order ice wine and they export it themselves. It's a really hot commodity across the world. But again, like North America is one of the only places that make ice wine.
Okay.
So that really complicates things, and we just cannot make enough to withstand something like that.
Okay. Tell me one more thing. When we went to Quebec, and Quebec as a state also allows foreign brands of wines. If you go to an outlet in Quebec, you can find French wines, you can have wines from Peru,
Yeah.
wines from Chile, and all of that. Do you feel like if we have better, better, the Ontario government allows the foreign brand, it will be better for the business, or you feel that it's not good for business?
Well, the thing is 95% of the wine that's made in this region is sold in this region.
95?
I would say about
so
95.
That means this region has a huge
Yes,
demand.
huge demand, and we have a lot of people that travel here.
Okay.
I mean, not so much at this time, but like tourism in the summertime can be insane here.
Okay.
Very, very busy. A lot of people traveling from all over the world to come here.
Okay.
For the wine region in itself.
Okay.
And Niagara Falls, obviously, because that's like a wonder of the world, right? So
Okay.
people are coming here for that type of vacation.
Okay.
Now, I honestly don't think that production of wine from around the world being mass produced and sold in other countries is a problem. I don't agree with that. I think that all wine
No,
has its place.
my question is that, let's say, as a tourist, if I go to Quebec, I have other varieties of alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you are a wine store, and now since you are a winery, you only sell your own brand.
Yes.
But let's say if there is another, that you also have a retail liquor store, whereas you also have a other branch, you have a better revenue, right? You have a better product line, right?
We are huge in the LCBO.
Okay.
So we have 7 wines that are sold through them.
So how many brands you have right now?
We just have the one.
Okay.
It's just this is what you see in this store is all that we have.
Okay.
So
In terms of volume or quantity, you basically measure it by liters, by bottles, by pounds.
so it's by liters. I don't know the exact liter, but over the past 4 years, it's probably been our biggest productions we've done because we've just had some really great harvest seasons with lots of fruit.
Okay.
So I would say we're probably doing anywhere from 25,000 to 40,000 cases a year.
Cases. Wow.
Yes.
So what are the major challenges if you see in terms of winery as an industry? Is it a labor challenge or is
So
it
I think it's all a challenge. I think, owning a winery can be very complicated because there's a lot that goes into owning a winery, running a winery, and making the wine.
Uh-huh.
So number one, environment and weather conditions is always going to be your toughest competitor.
Okay.
So that really can put strain on your season and how much wine you can produce that year.
Okay.
So weather is number one regardless.
So in terms of weather, which are the months which is absolutely lowest in terms of production or in terms of business?
So I would say November to March is our slowest season, which is fair. Weather can be bad. Not a lot of people travel down here for the winter. A lot of people go away, right? So it just depends on people's travel
But in
plans.
terms of sales, which are the best months of the year?
Oh, I would say probably May to October.
Okay.
So that is like our busiest time of year because things are going on out in the vineyard. Production's going to be starting within 3 weeks or so. So things can get pretty crazy around here. Everything that we have on our property is machine picked. So luckily we don't have to do any hand picking, so it's not any more labor
Wow,
intensive.
it's all machine picked?
All machine picked.
Wow.
So that really cuts down on
Your production of labor.
And that's a third party company that owns those machines. We will then schedule for them to come and harvest. They will harvest and everything will be brought in the back.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, so
very
that's
nice.
something we don't really need to
So
worry
tell me
about.
one thing, Emily, in terms of your total sales, you also ship orders to different parts of Canada?
Yeah, so we haven't in a while, but mostly everything's shipped within Ontario.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Can we have a look at the first?
Yeah,
first
please.
floor?
Yeah, you're more than welcome to take a look upstairs. It's a pretty beautiful part of the barn itself.
What was the idea of having a first floor?
So the reason why we have a second floor is
Yeah.
for groups. Back when we were hosting groups of people.
Okay. Tourist group, you meet tourist groups, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so for wine tastings and whatnot.
Okay.
But right now we're using it as seating.
Oh, wow. Oh, this is a nice place. Amazing.
Yeah, so you're seating up here. And then the view itself, if you want to take a look over, it's a pretty stunning view.
Yeah, this side. Yeah. So these are your merchandise?
Yeah, so this space isn't really as popular as it used
Any
kind of
specific
turning a new
reason? Any
leaf.
specific reason? Or
Sorry?
you want to get rid of merchandise?
So we're gonna try and slowly focus on wine and clothing coming up. So we're gonna try and get rid of most of our merchandise.
Okay.
Our
that's
owner
all.
is just kind of turning a new leaf and it was looking to, focus on some other things that are more important.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So fair enough. I guess that's a lot of information for today.
Yeah.
And I guess since we cannot, because of quarantine, we cannot see the production facility.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So we would only have a little bit of pictures about the vineyard.
There's not too much in the back. We're very small in production wise, unlike some of the bigger competitors in the region.
Okay.
We're about
But you are unique.
We are in the sense that we're medium sized, so we're producing quite a bit and we're very popular within grocery and the LCBO, so people know our name. We have a lot of regular customers here on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, so they're the ones who have actually kept us going through this whole time.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
We have been coming to your store, I guess, for last 10 years.
Okay, yeah.
And we usually, since we have a busy schedule, so we probably do it 2 to 3 times a year.
Right.
But you have something unique to offer. I definitely feel that way.
I mean, our property is beautiful. It's probably one of the most unique properties you'll probably see in this region.
Yeah.
Everybody else is kind of newer, more modern, whereas we are, rooted within the fact that our property is original.
And this is the piano, basically.
Yeah, so this is our owner's original piano from his home.
Wow. So
and we put
basically,
it here.
if you have a group, they can taste wine and also enjoy a nice evening.
Yes.
In the happy days, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Things will come back together.
Yeah, exactly.
So I will sit with Emily. Thanks for your time.
Of course, anytime. Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. And once it's loaded, we'll talk to you soon.
Perfect.
Okay? Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
Bye bye.